up, collectors? Just latest news breaking. I was just wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this. Pete Rose, multiple other players, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, are now eligible for the Hall of Fame as the Major League Baseball lifts the ban. This is just on ESPN.com. So this news just came out, and just reading through the article here. So Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on Tuesday removed Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased players from the Major League Baseball's permanently ineligible list. So that includes the all-time hit king, Pete Rose, as well as Shoeless Joe Jackson, two players that were longtime pariahs in the game because of their association with gambling. Um, Obviously, Pete Rose at post playing days as a manager, and then Shoeless Joe from the 1919 Black Sox scandal. So Rob Manfred had ruled that the Major League Baseball's punishment of banned individuals ended upon their death. So interestingly, I thought this quote was interesting. Obviously, a person no longer with us cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game, Manfred wrote. Um, and so in a letter to an attorney, Jeffrey Lenkov, who had petitioned for Rose's removal from the list January 8th. And then he says, moreover, it's hard to conceive of a penalty that has more deterrent effect than one that lasts a lifetime with no reprieve. Therefore, having concluded that permanent ineligibility ends upon the passing of the disciplined individual, and Mr. Rose will be removed from the permanently ineligible list. So that decision has ended the ban that was put in place by Bart Giamatti back in August of 1989, where following an investigation by MLB that determined that Pete Rose had bet on games while managing for the Reds. So another big player within this ruling is Shoeless Joe Jackson. He, along with 7 other Chicago White Sox, were banned from playing baseball in 1921 by MLB's first commissioner, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, for fixing the 1919 World Series. We also refer to that as the Black Sox scandal. So potentially they could be eligible, enshrined in summer 2028. So his ruling overall removes a total of 16 deceased players and 1 deceased owner from this banned list. And in addition to Shoeless Joe, it includes some of his teammates, his pitch from the Black Sox, so Eddie Cicotte, third baseman George Buck Weaver, and so forth. So this is kind of a big deal. When this goes before, the ultimate decision of the candidacy will be decided by the 16-member ERA committee, and the committee meets again in December 2027. And in order for Rose and Jackson and so forth previously banned players to get in, they need 12 of 16 votes. So let's take a look at some of the stats of these players. We know Pete Rose was a fantastic player, Hall of Fame worthy in all regards. Had a WAR of 79.6. He had hit king with 4,256 hits, 160 home runs, a 303 batting average, over 1,300 RBIs, OBP of 375, and OPS plus of 118. Then let's go to Joe Jackson, 62.2 career WAR, 4,981 at bats, 1,772 hits, 54 homers, a career batting average of 356, one of the highest in history. 792 RBIs, OPS plus of 170. And then Eddie Cicotte, a very dominant pitcher from that era from the Black Sox. He had a career WAR of 59, 209 wins, 148 losses in the area of 2.38. And so was over 1,300 strikeouts and a whip of 1.154. So these are all very fantastic players in their own right. And I always have mixed emotions when decisions like this come through. We have so many players who have not been alive to appreciate their induction into the Hall of Fame, and this is kind of bittersweet well deserved for these players. And no matter how you feel about it, maybe some people might debate if you break the rules, if you gamble, you don't deserve to be in. That's fine. I feel that certainly Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose have long deserved to be in. You can even argue that Shoeless Joe during the Black Sox scandal played you know very competitively as far as his batting average, and I think he hit a home run. Despite accepting, I think $5,000, he played very competitively. So did he really throw the game? Probably not. So what does this mean for their legacy? Probably it boosts their legacy. I think Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose and maybe even somebody like Eddie Cicotte could get in, uh, uh, given this reversal. Um, what does that mean for their legacy? I think good things. I think it's good for baseball. What does it mean for their collectability for their cards? I mean, I think it probably helps it somewhat, but I think some of that is already kind of baked in. I mean, Shoeless Joe does not have a whole lot of playing days cards. His cards are notoriously very expensive already. And Pete Rose, certainly his rookie card is already kind of a lot of that price has been baked in, but that'll probably boost if he gets into the hall. But I think we'll have to see kind of how it plays out um, in the coming years and whether or not they get in. Hopefully they will. But I'd like to know what you guys think of this reversal and whether you feel good about it. Do you feel it's a classy thing to do to wait till the player dies, particularly in the case of Pete Rose, where he campaigned for so many years and I think probably um, had suffered and apologized to the point where he probably deserved forgiveness sooner, uh, but was kind of politically dragged through the mud for a really long time, and I think probably unfairly at that point. So you know, to give your life and your everything you have to something, and then have something you really wanted taken away from you. Granted, there's personal responsibility and so forth, but it's a little sinister to me that, and a little bit antiquated, that baseball still operates this way. That we aren't more forward thinking, and maybe we don't have a sense of self awareness sooner, and we really have to punish a player until after they're dead, and then kind of tongue in cheek then let them in. I don't really agree with that. I'm glad we're ultimately probably going to do it now, but I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to get a discussion and a discussion going. So I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Um, Let me know your thoughts, and until the next time.